Oh yes, the good old heavy armored melee. The melee build that is not just awesome in melee, but also absolutely destructive in Magic 2. It's the patented, it's one of the most popular archetypes in all of fantasy and RPGs. It's the Mage Knight, the Death Knight, the Battle Mage. But for our purposes, we're going to be the Elemental Knight, the heavy armored Mage Knight. And we're going to fall into that archetype here with this Baldur's Gate 3 guide. So I personally love this build and archetype. What's better than not just being a melee chat and getting in there and smashing with a great hammer or a great sword or a great axe, but being able to have the capability to cast spells. Being able to infuse your weapon with fire, ice, poison, lightning, thunder, all those awesome things that you see a lot of these super powerful fantasy characters do. You got Thrall, you got the Lich King. You know, if you want to be the more acid boy, you could be like a follower of Nurgle. Like, it's, you know, it's just so damn cool to me, like the potential when you have an elemental flavored knight. Not even with the damage aspect, but the utility too. Here's my take, guys. So in order to do this, we are actually going to go Eldritch Knight. That's going to be the primary levels that we're going to put the build into. I mean, it just makes too much sense. It's a really easy choice. We get access to pretty much all weapons. You get access to heavy armor, so we really fill that archetype where we're just a walking juggernaut. We're able to go into melee and really withstand hits, be incredibly tanky, and guys, this build is very tanky, by the way, while still having access to spells. One of the issues with the Eldritch Knight is that we only get access to level 2 spells, but to compensate that, we are only going to go 7 levels into Eldritch Knight and then go 5 levels into Wizard. Now the good thing about 5 levels into Wizard is that we still get a 3rd feat at level 4. We're going to get our first 2 feats at 4 and 6 from Fighter, and then when we get level 5 Wizard, we also get access to level 3 spells, which gets us that really coveted level 3 spell of Haste. Why is Haste so good? Everybody knows it's broken, but it's even more broken when you're casting on a heavy armored melee knight that is not going to lose concentration because they're going to have such good rolls and proficiency in it. It's a very huge aspect of the build. So why are we so tanky? Yeah, we got heavy armor, but there's going to be one thing we're going to do. We're not going to really use our spells for elemental damage. We're going to save those level 3 slots for haste and other buffs if we need them, but generally we're going to have 7 spell slots to save them for shield. Yes guys, you're going to learn shield, and that reaction to give 5 AC when you're about to take damage is absolutely massive. It is so damn good. I'm surprised more people aren't utilizing it on these melee hybrid because it is so damn good, guys. And the best thing about it is that it's not an automatic, well, it is an automatic reaction, but it does not give you the option every single time you're about to take damage. If you're going to take damage, and let's say you're already going to win the roll, you're going to beat their roll, and you're going to save the damage roll, and they're going to get a miss, it's not going to even proc for you. So it's very smooth to use, and then of course you're going to get 7 opportunities to use that. Now, when we deal damage, how we're going to infuse and really be that elemental archetype and use different elements is we're going to do them through cantrips. We're going to get a lot of cantrip access through not just Eldritch Knight, but we're going to get it through Wizard too. So we have a lot of different options when it comes to infusing our weapons with elements and using different elements and really filling into the thematic theme. The best thing about Eldritch Knight, when we get to level 7, we get War Magic. So now we get not only a cantrip on our initial ability if we so choose, so we get the bonus action melee attack, and because we're using a 2-handed weapon and great weapon master, we're going to be doing a lot of damage while infusing that melee attack, adding elemental die on our rolls, and then also adding our spellcasting modifier on rolls too, which is very nice. It really fits the theme, guys. So getting into character selection, what's going to happen here for race is that you really can do whatever you want. Everything is pretty much, you know, nothing just really smokes anything else, you know, like half orc, a pure fighter would, or a half orc crit build, or, you know, the guaranteed crit build, the Nova build, stuff like that. There really is no race that's just absolutely going to dominate, you know? So really, just when it comes down to it, play what you want to play. Some things that are notable is the Wood Half Elf, I believe. where you just get a little bit more mobility, which is really good. And then obviously Githyanki. I'm using Lae'zel for this build, and I actually think it's very, very loreful when it comes to Lae'zel, having these melee chads, these fighters that are able to really use the elements and stuff like that. Githyanki specialize in taming the red dragons with their bargain with Tiamat. They also get to excel in psionics, and even the best and the most trained Githyanki do have proficiencies in some types of magic. So I do think that, you know, because we do a small dip into Wizard, and even though we are Eldritch Knight and we do get access to spells, we're still relatively limited. We're still primarily a melee build, and Githyanki really encompasses that, I believe, especially Lae'zel. So you go to start fighter, you get all the proficiencies, you get heavy armor, you get all that good stuff. Fighting style, I am doing a great weapon fighting build and a great weapon master build. But if you wanted to make a more tanky oriented build, if you wanted to make even insanely even more tanky and wanted to go sword and board, a sword and shield, or one-hander and shield, you can do that. You can even do dueling. You really can do whatever you want, guys. It's very, very flavorful. If you guys want to change it up and do something, if you want to, you know, wield a shield into that melee and get prones with shield bash and just rely on being even more tanky and just, you know, going up to those absolutely threatening targets, you can do that. But generally, if you're going to follow the build as I am, we're going to go great weapon fighting because we're going to use great swords. And, you know, because it is a Loreful Lae'zel build too, it just makes too much sense. Background, you can do whatever you want. Now, when we get to abilities, it's going to be a little bit different, right? So for feats, we're going to have two options. The two mandatory feats that we are going to use is going to be Great Weapon Master and Heavy Armor Master. Now, Heavy Armor Master is going to jump up this 17 strength to 18, getting us into the next proficiency bracket, which is very good. You don't really need Dex. You can keep it at 10 or 12 if you want. Constitution is very, very good. We do not need Wisdom. But we do want to get at least 14 intelligence. We get a +2 bonus, right guys? We get a +2 bonus there, and that's going to help getting our attack rolls, our spell rolls, our damage, and obviously all our cantrips are going to be rolled off that intelligence modifier. So this is my preferred ability score layout. This allows us to not rely on an ability score improvement to get next brackets in intelligence or constitution. The Heavy Armor Master will get us from 17 to 18, and if we do we get 3 feats. If we want to go Heavy Armor Master, Great Weapon Master, I'm sorry, then we can use that last feat, or, you know, if you want to do it earlier, you can do the second or first feat for an ability score improvement. If you want to be more mage-like, you can put it in intelligence. If you want to be more melee rolls, you want to be more focused on melee, you can put those last two from 17 to 19. Just remember, we get the +1 from Heavy Armor Master, so we're going to round this strength out either or. At level 2, you get Action Surge, which is one of the best abilities in the games. It really is so good, especially with Eldritch Knight, because in a lot of situations, you can infuse your elements. You can cantrip into an attack with War Magic when you get your level 7, and then if you want to Action Surge, you can get 3 attacks next turn if you get a kill or crit with Great Weapon Master. It's very, very good. Level 3, we go Eldritch Knight. Now just remember, we have so much cantrip access that you're pretty much going to get whatever you want. And that's one of my favorite things about the Eldritch Knight, is that we get literally access to almost every element. You know, you can start off however you want. I really like Shocking Grasp. You get advantage on those metal targets. It really is good early in the game. Once you get to level 3, a lot of the goblins and stuff like that in Act 1 do wear armor, and it gets a free advantage. And then from there, you know, it's a lot of flavor, guys. You want to be more fire focused. You want to be more necrotic, a death knight. You want to be more Norgo boy. You can go poison. You want to be a fire knight. And I really think the Firebolt is one of the most appropriate things with Githyanki, especially Lae'zel. And you see, as you know, they tame the red dragons. It really just makes a lot of sense. For spells, this is very, very important. To me, the most important spell is going to be Shield. The very, very good thing about Shield is that it's an Aberration spell. Now, the Aberration spell is going to be the school that we use when we do our dip into Wizard, but I'll get there. Now, again, like I said during the tank clip, most of our spell slots are going to be utilized for using Shield. Our spell casting is primarily going to be cantrips. So when it comes to spells, just really rely on utility. A lot of this stuff is just going to be more flavor, but Shield is the most important thing. When you get to level 4, pick whatever you want, guys. So when you get your first feat, you have a couple options here. You can just rush Heavy Armor Master and be even more tanky because you round out that strength and you get a -3 flat damage to non-magical attacks, which is very good. You don't see a lot of magic early in the game, so I think this is very useful, as well as rounding out that strength from 17 to 18. You can go Great Weapon Master at this point, but the -5 attack roll is very, very hard to overcome early levels when you're not playing Barbarian and you're able to generate free advantage with your Frenzy Strike. So just be aware, if you have other ways early in the game to generate advantage and you're going to have this Mage Knight as your primary carry, you can go this early then. But generally, I like to start Heavy Armor Master just to round out that strength, and we get to be even more tanky. At level 5, you get your extra attack. It's a big power spike. At this point, we do go level 6. We're not going to do our wizard dip yet, just because we really want to get that second feat, and we kind of want to rush our level 7 fighter, Eldritch Knight, for Warcaster. If you just want to get 5 levels into fighter and get the most important spike, you can do a quick 1 level dip if you want to learn some more level 1 scrolls and stuff like that, but I don't think it's necessary because our spell slots, we're really only utilizing them for shield. So at this point, you're level 6, you're a little bit more into the game, you're probably getting better gear. You might be able to utilize Great Weapon Master. You can do this if you so want to. Now, I don't like Elemental Adept because I don't like to focus too much on one element. I like to be very versatile when it comes to using my cantrips for damage and infusing my weapon. If you do want to so choose, if you really want to get into, the Loreful aspect and want to be, oh, I'm a Red Dragon Knight, I'm the Githyanki, another option you can do that is very good and I utilize is War Master. Our primary concentration that we're going to use to maintain is going to be Blur. That's going to make us even more tanky. It's going to give attackers disadvantage when they attack us. Now, when you have disadvantage as a defensive mechanism when people are trying to attack you, it's far and away mathematically one of the best ways to reduce the enemy's chance to hit you. When you stack that up with high AC, with shield, you're going to be very difficult to hit. So maintaining concentration and getting advantage on these concentration throws is so good. This is a very good option for a second or third feat, or you can go ability improvement and maybe get 20 strength or even maybe get 16 intellect. It really is up to you guys. But generally, I just like getting Great Weapon Master because the damage spike is so damn good. So at 7 Eldritch Knight, you get War Magic. Now we can cantrip into an auto attack. It's not a huge buff because we are already attacking twice per turn, but now we have the utility. And by level 7, you are going to have the items, from Act 1 and Act 2 that are going to utilize die rolls from elements and elemental infusions from the ring, helmet, and amulet. So once we get level 8, we are finally done with the fighter. Again, if you chose to do a earlier wizard dip from some scroll action, stuff like that, you can. And the great thing about Wizard, we get even more cantrip access. So I'm not going to go really into it, but pick what you really want. If you want to, I try to utilize everything I can, but you just go where you can, guys. One thing that's nice besides getting the extra spell slots for shield is that you get some good utility. If you don't want a pure mage, you have access to Featherfall, you have access to Enhanced Sleep. It's very good because now a lot of the areas in the game that you might not normally be able to handle if you didn't want to have, a pure mage in there, or you don't want to use Gale, you're a Dark Urge and you, spoiler, took his hand off and you can't use it, and it's still nice to be able to have some access to some nice fun utility here. Now, level 2 Wizard is very important for us. Why? Because we're going to go Abjuration School. As I stated earlier, using Shield as a reaction is an Aberration spell, and we get Arcane Ward. Now, the residual magic of your spells forms a ward around you that protects you from harm. For each turn of Arcane Ward remaining on you, you reduce damage by 1. This is far and away one of the most powerful dips. It's not huge, but when you utilize this with a Heavy Armor Master, we have -2 from the plate mail we're wearing. And if you have, spoiler, some of the legendary gear later, the amount of damage that you reduce from wearing heavy armor, like either -2, -3, another minus from being a Heavy Armor Master. If you want to utilize Blade Ward, you can, you're going to be, this is far and away, in my opinion, one of the most tankiest builds, even while able to utilize a great weapon, two-handed weapon, and still do very good damage. I do think it's one of the most well-rounded, unique, and, great ways to play the game. But that's why we go Abjuration. And again, when it comes to spells, you can do what you want. You want damage, utility, but again, we're mostly focusing our spell selection and slots on using a reaction shield to become more tanky. So once we get to level 3 Wizard, this is really our first big choice. The two most important things are going to be Magic Weapon and Blur. I much prefer using Blur as my primary method of concentration because disadvantage on attack rolls, and I'll just bring it over in a second here. So we have this table from D&D Master, I think it is, the Online Dungeon Master, okay. But, you know, it's common knowledge, you find this table anywhere. You'll see from a defensive aspect how good it is for us to have disadvantage as a defensive mechanic. Look how low these percentages are compared to advantage and even a die roll. From a base 10 and on to get a 25% increase or less chance to be hit is absolutely disgusting. When you go down to the bottom, you're gonna have less than a 1% chance to be crit. It's so good, guys. I think Blur is so much better for that reason to use the defensive. If you don't want to really do that, let's say you're not playing Tactician and you just want to be, you know, absolutely pump out as much damage as possible, you can use Magic Weapon too as your concentration. You also get access to Misty Step. Now, Githyanki get it anyway, but getting 2 Misty Steps is very good, especially as a bonus action. This really utilizes how we're able to just get around the battlefield at will. It's really incredible, especially when we have good strength. We're able to jump everywhere. We can bonus action, Misty Step to even farther locations. Very good utility. Level 4, more cantrips, and you get more spells. We do not get level 3 spells, so just get what you want here. You know, Mirror Image is another good one. This allows you to really take advantage of those initial turns. Because you do lose a mirror image each time, but you know, getting 9 free AC at the start of the turn and be able to utilize 3 attacks, so you're pretty much gonna 100% miss. 100% dodge. It's very good. So we get our last feat, and this is very difficult for me because there's a lot of things you can do. At this point, you can go ability improvement. If you want to get to 20 strength, you can do that. Spoiler, there are a pair of gloves in the game that allow you to just have a base strength of, I think it's 23. That's kind of insane. Obviously, if you get those, you probably wouldn't worry about investing in strength and go pure con and really go all in into the concentration saving and intelligence scaling with your rolls. That's probably going to be the best, but this is not my main character. I'm using those for my main character, my guts build. So, but if you want to do a Mage Knight as your main, your MC, it is very good, and it really opens up a lot of ways to be able to build the character differently. But again, I don't want to do a gear dependent build. So we have the ability improvement again, right? You can go from 18, you have the +1 from Heavy Armor Master. You can go 18 to 20, 16 to 18, you want to be more tanky, or you can go 2 and Int and get a little bit better when it comes to landing those cantrips and spells. Again, another option is Warcaster. I think Warcaster is very good. I explained it earlier. More concentration, advantage on concentration on saving those is very good. Spell Sniper is too specific. We do damage in too many different ways, and we're not, you know, our primary means of damage is not cantrip, and we're not a crit build. Savage Attacker is good. I don't think this is too good. I think if you think mathematically from a damage per round aspect, I don't know if this is correct. It might be like 3.5 to 4.2 something. Or that might be the reroll on 1, the great weapon fighting. I'm not sure, but Savage Attacker isn't too good. But if you do want to use this, you can. It might actually have a little bit more value in our build because we get a lot of on hit and we roll a lot of die. You'll see one of the clips earlier where I showed the damage rolls, and I had like 5 different elemental dies. So this might help in those situations. But again, but this is a good option. And finally, we get level 5 Wizard, and we get that big spike. We're gonna get access to level 3 spells. I don't think it's worth it to invest. In the level 3 damage spells. I really like just getting haste. It's just so damn good, guys. This does break your blur concentration, but again, if you want certain encounters, haste will. It really enables you to really make like an absolute giga carry if you're running out of potions and speeds. And having it on your melee that has you know, if you do go Warcaster and saving throws on concentration, advantage on saving throws when concentration, this is by far the best way to have a haste character, and you don't have to worry about your concentration breaking. With that said, the AI Tactician difficulty likes to favor breaking concentration, so something that I do a lot is use Lae'zel, haste my MC, and she'll go in there and she'll have mirror image set up. She won't have blur because this is my concentration now, but I might use this. I might action surge into a blade ward or maybe some other type of dodge mechanic that'll increase my AC just so I can maybe survive those first 2 rounds and take all that damage. This is not too good with Karmic Die because eventually they will hit you, but it's just something to think about. You can also go Counterspell here if you don't have another Warlock or Counterspeller. It's very, very good. It adds a lot of utility to the party, but you'll see, guys, getting these low access to level 3 spells, even though we only get 2 slots, it's really, really incredible. Lae'zel, this Loreful build, you know, the Psychonics, the elements, good damage, utility, uniqueness, fun to play, and it's just, it really is incredible to me. I absolutely love it. And, you know, you guys can really switch around a lot of the things and make it more flavorful to your style, you know, so that's something I really like about it. But again, defensively, we're going to rely on mechanics like Blur and Shield as a reaction to really enable us to be very tanky, along with Heavy Armor Master, and using Heavy Armor that reduces damage by a flat percentage. That's very, very, very good. Offensively, we bring a lot of consistent damage while providing incredible utility to the party. We can be the haste bot, we can be the concentration saving bot, we can do we still have access to 3 attacks if we so choose after we initially get our Arcane Ward. And, you know, you get a lot of damage die rolls when it comes to the elements, you know, infusing, the base gear later in the game with fire, psychic, gloves. It's very loreful. Alright guys, I'll try to do quick with gear. So you get the ring, it gives you a die roll in the corresponding element when you use that elemental cantrip. Then you add your spellcasting modifier to the cantrip, so that's good. And then the big one, other one you get, I think if you help the grove, you get arcane synergy. If inflict a condition, and then you get your spellcasting ability modifier on damage, so which is very, very good. Now the one thing about this is that condition is very broad. You inflict a condition a lot of ways. If I just do my concentration right here, I inflict a condition, you know, it's like Blur or something like that, so it's easy to get. Back to the rest of the gear, I am not really abusing too many legendaries on her because my MC has it, but like if I were to put the Hell Dusk on her, that would be insane. But even, you know, early Act 1, you get the Adamantium Splint. Now you have a total of -3 damage. Now if you add that in with Blade Ward, Blur, like you're going to be giga tanky. We get, you know, gloves that add elemental die rolls, and these get spell attack rolls, which helps because we don't have super high intelligence, so it does help land those cantrips and other spells. With boots, when we do Class 5, we get another psychic damage roll. Very, very loreful, very thematic when it comes to Githyanki because they specialize in psychonics, right? And then the sword, you get this from helping Voss. I don't know if there's another way to get this, but, you know, a great sword for Lae'zel. It's beautiful. It gives you the psychic damage. I get the fire from there, and the one attack is just so good. It does even more damage with the possibility of stun. It has an awesome animation, Soulbreaker. And that's pretty much it. You know, you can do other things if you want to increase stats. If you want to put the gloves on her, then that's going to completely change the build, but I don't want to get too much into that. But, you know, with that said, guys, Mozu with Negron Tech, I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making this build, and it was, you know, it was a pleasure to bring another, hopefully not super focused on lore, even though I do think it's very lore appropriate for Lae'zel to not just be a champion or pure you know, battle master and focus on maneuvers, but to bring you know, tankiness, utility, spells, and it really fits thematically, and it's an excellent complement to your party, even on Tactician difficulty, guys. Again, Mozu with Negron Tech. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Please, and have a good one, guys.